Yo, what's good, YouTube? Zamcrow here, aka Scoop, back with the International Draft Masters Season 3, Week 11, and we're taking on K. Kirby, coach of the Albany Altarias. So, yeah, pretty cool squad and a pretty solid battler, very creative, and he enjoys low-tier threats such as Lenoon and Oricorio, and he does have those on his team. So yeah, he's got Landers Incarnate, Jirachi, Mega Venusaur, Togekiss, Pelipper, Lenoon, Oricorio, Kingdra, Reggie Rock. Excuse me, sorry about that, Dwayne. He's got Haxorus and Rotom Heat. So yeah, very scary squad. Makes it difficult, a little bit difficult to prep, especially with Landers Therian. Like I could bring like Z-Fly with Earthquake, but then I can't hit the Rotom Heat, or an Oricorio if it's Pom Pom Electric Flying. I could bring Rocky MZ, but then I'll lose out on being able to one-shot Mega Venusaur. So lots of different things there. I've decided to take my prep in a way, or let's talk about my team for a second. I've got Landers, Therian, Zeraora, Como-O, Necrozma, Scizor, Primarina, Incineroar, Decidueye, Glaceon, Mega Diancie, Tauros, and the Garbodor. Our Z-move users are Landers, Therian, Incineroar, and Glaceon. Our opponent's Z-move users are Jirachi and Oricorio, which I fully expect Jirachi to come as a check to the Mega Diancie. Could be Shuka, could be Air Balloon, could be very, very, very Spadef. So anyways, we've decided to bring a Landers Therian. Well, let's go ahead and hop into it. So our Landers Therian is a Flyinium Z Earthquake Fly Swords Dance with Stealth Rock. Can break through like the huge threats like Mega Venusaur, Togekiss, Jirachi, Regirock, Haxorus, so on and so forth. Like I mentioned, I can't hit the Rotom Heat with this set. I can't hit a potential Oricorio with this set if he's like the Pom Pom set with the flying and electric typing. Could be problematic. I think there might be. I think that's the only set I can't hit though, in terms of the Oricorio. And then once I burn my Z move, I have a little bit of trouble versus Landers Incarnate and Togekiss, especially if they're like sub or some kind of setup variant. Especially if I don't have a Swords Dance up as well. And we are EV'd to speed creep a Rotom Heat, max speed Rotom Heat, in case he brings like Choice Scarf, Hidden Power Ice, or something like that. Or excuse me, max speed, Hidden Power Ice. Obviously I can't outpace a Choice Scarf variant. However, if I was a Choice Scarf variant, then I could. Anyways, Landers is a super solid breaker versus his team. He opens up holes for Zeraora and Mega Diancie respectively, and we have a nice Necrozma set. We're going to talk about Necrozma last. I haven't really brought this kind of Necrozma set this season, so we'll talk about that last, and we can go ahead and hop into Zeraora. So for Zeraora, we have a Shuka Berry variant with Substitute, Plasma Fist, Hidden Power Ice, and the Endeavor. So the idea is that with Plasma Fist, we can hit everything on his team for neutral damage outside of the Rotom Heat, and the Mega Venusaur, and obviously we can't hit the Landers Incarnate at all. And I guess Haxorus is somewhat of a resist, but it doesn't appreciate taking a Plasma Fist from this max attack adamant Zeraora, especially if it's not like Choice Scarf or something, then the Hidden Power Ice will knock it out the following turn unless it's like Yachi Berry or something, or very, very, very bulky. However, I can spam Plasma Fist versus this team. The idea is to use Zeraora to weaken the Mega Venusaur, and you're like, how can you do that? You have Plasma Fist and Hidden Power Ice. Well, I also have Endeavor, so that once I'm put low enough, I can eventually Endeavor the Mega Venusaur and bring it as low as I am. And if he doesn't attack me, or throws off a Leech Seed or something like that, I can potentially knock him out the following turn. Or I can just let Zeraora go down and bring something else in and just keep it low with Endeavor. Also, I have the Shuka Berry for Landers Incarnate. It could potentially be a Choice Scarf variant. I expect something like U-Turn, Earth Power, Hidden Power Ice, and then a coverage move, maybe Knockoff or something like that. However, Choice Scarf allows it to outpace Zeraora and Mega Diancie, so that's why I expect it to be Choice Scarf. He could bring Jirachi as a Scarfer as well, but I felt like it being a Z-move user, he's more prone to use it as a Z-move user and use Landers as a scarfer in this matchup. It is faster as well. Anyways, the idea is to either live a hit. I can scout for Scarf on Landers with my Shuka. If my Shuka's already popped, then I'm obviously going to be switching if Landers is already revealed to be Scarf, or if it hasn't revealed an item at all. Anyways, I can Endeavor something and like I mentioned, open up a hole for Mega Diancie. I can also, if I can get those switches predicted correctly and I can get a sub up and Mega Venusaur is weakened, then this thing can actually go ham. Like if Mega Venusaur and Rotom Heat are already weakened, I've got Stealth Rocks up, I've got Prior Trip on Regirock. He doesn't really have a solid counter to this either. I'm able to run a Adamant Nature with barely any speed investment because his speed tiers aren't that solid. Like he doesn't have anything over Landers Incarnate speed, so I'm able to speed creep that. Invest into all of my attack with an Adamant Nature, and then put 216 EVs into special attack as well. So Hidden Power Ice actually does a decent chunk to Mega Venusaur prior to Mega Evolution, and is able to OHKO the Landers Incarnate, as long as it's not like Yachi Berry. So yeah, that's going to be it for Zeraora, and we can move on to Necrozma. A Max Spadef variant with Max HP. We can take a hit from Mega Venusaur. We can also take a hit from Landers Incarnate as well. We OHKO Landers with Scald. If we hit our Torrent thing, it's guaranteed OHKO no matter his investment. We have Protect there so that we can scout and waste rain turns. If he decides to bring Pelipper in the Kingdra, we can waste rain turns. This also gives us a solid switch into Pelipper and Kingdra specifically. We can take Hydro Pumps in the rain pretty comfortably, and we can obviously avoid Draco Meteors. This thing, one Moonblast knocks out Haxorus unless it's a little bit invested or something. Primarina has very high special attack, and it hits really hard without any investment. So this Max Spadef, Max HP set's really nice. Throwing off Scalds versus his team's really nice too. I can get burns, can bust the Rotom Heat up, can burn the Haxorus, bust the Regirock up, burn the Kingdra. Depends on the Oricorio set. Can potentially burn a Linoon, which would be really nice if it's a Belly Drum set or like a Life Orb set. And then Togekiss doesn't appreciate being burned. Mega Venusaur doesn't appreciate being burned, especially if it's like a bulky variant and he's trying to use it to wall something or something like that. Also have Psychic for the Mega Venusaur in case he wants to switch that in hard. We can get a little bit of damage off and then kind of gauge its set and then switch out accordingly. Anyways, we can move on to Incineroar now. Alright, so Incineroar is going to be our Jirachi check. We are immune to Psychic and we are resistant to Steel type. And we have the Rocky Helmet in case he's like an Iron Head variant, like trying to flinch us down or something like that. We can punish it with that. We can also use Knockoff. If it's not a Z-move user, Knockoff does quite a bit of damage. And it also gets rid of items on the rest of his team. Specifically, him switching Pelipper in on an Incineroar, I can get rid of its Damp Rock, whatever it may have. Even if it's a leftovers variant, just getting rid of its items really nice. Same thing for Kingdra. If it's a Specs variant, it makes it easier on Tinkerbell later on in the match to take water type hits, so on and so forth. We can also get rid of items on Haxorus, specific berries. I know Kirby likes to run berries on this mon, so we can get rid of berries too. Potentially knock off a Landers Incarnate's Choice Scarf if he decides to bring Choice Scarf Lando. If he brings a Choice Scarf Rachi or Togekiss, we can also get rid of their scarves. And basically any item. U-turn, we have a really slow U-turn despite not having a minus speed nature. Well, we do outpace Regirock as well. We can taunt it, prevent Stealth Rocks. We can U-turn out and then take advantage of the situation from there. Fake Out's nice for a little bit of chip damage on things such as Landers Incarnate, Togekiss, Linoon even. Say Linoon does get a Belly Drum up and it's starting to threaten my team. I can sack something, bring in Incineroar, get that Fake Out chip damage. It's not, Linoon can't set up on anything for free. And if he is mono extreme speed, he can't even hit my Zeraora after a Plasma Fist. So if I click Plasma Fist versus his Linoon, as he sets up, or his Figgy Berry pops or whatever, and then he goes for the Belly Drum, and he goes for the extreme speed, it won't affect me. It actually gives me HP back, so that's really nice. And it can't really set up on anything else. Necrozma will 2-hit KO it. potentially Elko it after Stealth Rocks, which you'll see in a second. Incineroar can fake out into knockoff or U-turn into Intimidate, and then shuffle back into my Incineroars, Intimidate, back into my Landers, Intimidate, and then I can just basically neutralize the threat. And then we have Mega Diancie, which is going to be able to knock it out after Stealth Rocks. Well, it's a roll. After 2 rounds of Stealth Rock, it's definitely a knockout. And then with Moonblast, and then obviously I resist Extreme Speed anyway, so it's not too huge of a threat, but I did want to prepare for it, and having Intimidate, Rocky Helmet, Fake Out, all this extra chip damage, I can neutralize that threat. So yeah, we can move on to Mega Diancie. Alright, so we've got to protect Moonblast, Diamond Storm, Earth Power variant. Initially, I didn't actually have Necrozma or Zeraora on the team. I had Decidueye to better take on Rain over Necrozma, and I had Scizor over Zeraora. But yeah, I decided to drop those two, and Mega Diancie was always on my squad, but I did have Power Gem over Diamond Storm. But I felt like if Mega Venusaur has taken a little bit of chip damage, comes in on Stealth Rocks, I could potentially 2-hit KO it with Diamond Storm if it switches in on me. It will take Diamond Storm damage, and then potentially the next Diamond Storm will knock it out. That's just potentially. But it does much better than Power Gem does, like mono special attacking. And we didn't really need any kind of defense investment. So like having a negative defense nature isn't too bad. We can spam Moonblast, Earth Power, and Diamond Storm. We have Protect there so that we can scout things like Jirachi going for Stealth Rocks on, him predicting me to switch out. We can also burn an extra turn of Rain if he brings the Pelipper. If Landers comes in and goes for Earth Power, we can switch accordingly. If he goes for U-turn, we can stay in and attack. And I suppose that's just about it. I guess we can protect on the Mega Venusaur, but he's more than likely going to Synthesis over the Leech Seed or anything like that, especially with a Magic Mount user in front of him. So I don't think that's too big of an issue. But yeah, we can go ahead and hop into Necrozma. Going to be our last Pokemon, and then hop into the replay right after Necrozma. So finally, with Necrozma, like I mentioned, going to save this one for last because we don't normally bring these type of Necrozma sets. We've mostly brought like Morning Sun Stealth Rock, 2 attacks, or 3 attacks Stealth Rock, or 3 attacks, Morning Sun, or something like that. But we're actually bringing, I thought about a Swords Dance variant. We did bring Swords Dance once too. Swords Dance 3 attacks, or Swords Dance 2 attacks and Morning Sun, or something like that. But we haven't brought this kind of set, an Autotomized Sweeper set. So yeah, his team is, like I mentioned, Landers Incarnate, Jirachi, Mega Venusaur, Togekiss, Pelipper, Linoone, Oricorio, Kingdra, Regirock, Haxorus, and Rotom Heat. He does not have a Dark type. His only resist to Photon Geyser is Jirachi, which takes super effective damage from knockoff. However, like I mentioned, he is a potential Z-move user, so if he does have the Z item, he won't take as much from knockoff, but if he's a switch into Mega Diancie and Zeraora, and he's taking chip damage from Primarina or Earth Power damage from Mega Diancie, I will be able to 2-hit KO him or Oko him with Life Orb knockoff. So it's really nice. We do, like I just mentioned, we are packing the Life Orb. We've got Photon Geyser and knockoff, just the only coverage we needed, and Autotomize. Thought about bringing Swords Dance for Jirachi in case it's a little bit stronger than, like, more defensive than expected. But I felt like with Life Orb and the rest of my team chipping everything down, I felt like just running Autotomize was fine, and I could use Morning Sun as some kind of recovery so that I could switch in on Mega Venusaur and potentially Togekiss and any Pokemon really if I have to. I can switch, it kind of be a pivot to like a Rotom Heat going for Overheat, or I can scout and see what it wants to go for. If it goes for the Volt Switch, then I know, or it's going to Volt Switch out or whatever, but then I can gauge the damage, see what kind of damage that does. Depending on what he brings in, I could potentially Morning Sun back up. But yeah, the general idea is to weaken his team, scout out his sets, and then Autotomize up with Necrozma, and then use my Life Orb Photon Geyser to rip through his squad with Stealth Rocks up. So yeah, let's go ahead and hop into the replay and see if we can make this happen. Okay, so here we are with the replay, and my opponent chooses to bring the Regirock, Mega Venusaur, Linoone, Oricorio, Jirachi, and the Landers Incarnate. Like I mentioned, it is Sheer Force. These are Jirachi and Oricorio with Z moves, so pretty threatening. My opponent chooses to not bring the Togekiss, so no Paraflinch or any scary things like that unless Jirachi's T-Wave Ironhead. And then no Rain with the Pelipper and Kingdra, so that's really nice to not have to face off against that. Super solid there. And I guess he has some other threats like Haxorus and Rotom Heat that he didn't bring. Rotom Heat would have been nice versus my Scizor. I thought about bringing a Steel Plate, Ironhead, Steel Plate, Swords Dance, Bullet Punch, Roost, Defog variant with no defog, with knockoff, 2 attacks and Swords Dance. But I was fearing the Rotom Heat to come and maybe Rain to come, so I didn't bring my Scizor, unfortunately. It would have been really nice in this matchup by the looks of it. Anyways, yeah, he's got, like I mentioned, 2 potential Z-move users. He's got 3 potential Stealth Rock users in Regirock, Jirachi, and Landorus Incarnate. And Linoon's a very scary setup mon with Belly Drum, such is Jirachi and Landorus Incarnate with Calm Mind. And Oricorio gets Baton Pass with setup moves, so that's pretty scary too. However, I felt like I built really well, and that the team can, I built 2 teams and decided to bring the second team basically on a coin flip. I looked at my brother and I said 1 or 2, and he said 2, so I brought the team I built second. And it's gonna, I think it's a little bit better, just a little bit though, but there's some things that the first team had that was a little bit better. But anyways, we're going to lead off with Incineroar, get a nice Intimidate off versus whatever he wants to lead with. He does lead off with the Regirock, leads me to believe that this is probably his Stealth Rock user. So what we're going to do is click Fake Out and get a little bit of chip damage off, and then we're going to taunt him and prevent him from setting up Stealth Rocks if he decides to go for Stealth Rocks. And he does. So, yeah, he's going to hard switch out into his Landers, as we're going to U-turn out. So, a nice slow U-turn, and we can go straight into our Zeraora. And the reason being for Zeraora, as he could potentially be Choice Scarf, and actually reveals to be Choice Scarf and goes for the U-turn. We went into Zeraora because we are the Shuka Berry, like I mentioned in the team builder section. We had the Shuka Berry and the Hidden Power Ice. So, we're going to go for the Hidden Power Ice there, see if we can take out the Landers. He switches into his Mega Venusaur though. However, pre-Mega, he doesn't have the Thick Fat, and we're going to go out into our Landers here and set up our Stealth Rocks. As he goes out into his Regirock and sets up his own Stealth Rocks. And then we're going to switch out here as he goes for the counter. So, not a bad play. I knew we couldn't knock him out, but I didn't expect counter. I expected more so like an Ice Punch or something like that. Anyways, he goes for the Thunder Wave here as we go for the Psychic predicting the Mega Venusaur, and we actually don't get it. So we stay in, and a few turns later we're able to land a big Scald. We end up getting the burn as well, but he ends up flinching us too. So a little bit of justice there on his part. These pairs suck, but yeah, we did get the burn, so not going to complain too much there. And yeah, he's going to bring in his Jirachi here, and he's going to reveal to be a setup variant. And yeah, this is a potential Z-move user, so I've got to look out for that. We're going to click Fake Out and get a little bit more chip damage off on him. If he's not a Z-move user, Knockoff should knock him out. But he is a Z-move user, and Corkscrew Crash actually puts me in range of Flash Cannon. And he's able to 2-hit KO us there, basically. But, however, his bulk investment showed that he could not live a Plasma Fist from our Zeraora. And now he's forced into Landers. He couldn't go into Linoon here to click Extreme Speed, because Extreme Speed now becomes an electric type move and would just give us Volt Absorb. And I guess he could have went into Mega Venusaur because it lives any hit, but he doesn't know my full moveset yet, which turns out like I'm a sub Endeavor variant, so it turns out like I don't have any coverage for Mega Venusaur. But I can Endeavor it down so that once it puts us low enough that we can bring it low too and Revenge Kill it with Mega Diancie. However, we are going to double out from our Landers, predicting his Oricorio to come in, because it was the Pom Pom variant, which means it's electric flying, immune to ground, resistant to fly. So my Landers actually can't hit it. And I kind of regret not bringing the Rockium for this potential set and a potential Rotom Heat. So yeah, we're going to try to knock it out here with the Plasma Fist. However, Hurricane shows to be a 2-hit KO versus our own Zeraora. So unfortunate there. However, he's going to roost up here, and what we're going to do is click Endeavor on the following turn to make sure that, he stays low, because eventually he would be roosting up to too much, too high of health. Anyways, we're going to bring in Mega Diancie to revenge kill him. This prevents Linoon from coming in and setting up, which is really nice. And Diamond Storm gives us this nice +2 defense here. Super solid. However, he's going to go into Venusaur here. I'm going to click Diamond Storm because I can live any one hit. And had he not went for Synthesis, I would have been able to 2-hit KO him. But yeah, he does go for the Synthesis, and I'm not able to 2-hit KO him. I'm going to sack off my Primarina here. I don't necessarily need it in this matchup. It is paralyzed as well, so that's a little bit unfortunate. What I'm going to do is go out to my Landorus Therian and claim 1 kill. No matter what he wants to do here, Supersonic Sky Strike did pick up a kill, and we're able to eliminate the Mega Venusaur. So now Diancie has an even better time, and he reveals Hidden Power. I thought about switching out here, but it just wasn't worth it. The best plays was to get a little bit of chip on Linoon, because I know that my Necrozma can win in the back, because I am Autotomized. However, I get a critical hit there, which guarantees knocks out the Linoon. It was a roll, but yeah, the crit makes sure that he dies there. And here, I could go into Necrozma, but it would have been a 2-hit KO, and then he would have knocked out my Diancie anyway, so that would have been a choke. The best play is to sack off Mega Diancie, not care about differential here, and let my Life Orb Necrozma win. I didn't have to click Autotomize. However, it would have been nice in the late game versus had I had enough chip on everything and was able to set up an Autotomize versus his Mega Venusaur, and then he didn't have knockoff and I kept my Life Orb, I would have been in a very, very nice position. I had knockoff for Jirachi, so super solid there. Felt like the prep was just really, really, really nice in this build, and it's going to be able to pick us up a nice, narrow 1-0 victory here. As Kirby says in the chat down there, close game, well played, GG. And basically, same thing back to him, ditto, no doubt. So yeah, it's going to be it, and we're going to be able to pick up our 7th win of the season. We're going to finish off 7-4 with a +16 differential, which secures us a place in playoffs. We have clinched our playoff berth, and that's pretty nice. So looking forward to that. Let me know what you thought about the prep and the plays on both sides of the field. I hope you're hyped for playoff like I am, and yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.